Good morning. Can everybody hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Let's see. I'm recognizing that 330 number. So that's Debbie, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
See, very good. Hey, Debbie, how are you? I see.
I'm good.
You got Jill. Trying to think. Jill, I see your stuff. I saw you earlier. I saw John Lowe just arrived. Who's 813967?
That's me, Beth Stevens.
Hey, Beth, how are you?
Great.
Good. Mara's in, just checking to make sure we're working right. Good. And Beth just renamed herself Beth Stevens. Zach, I see you. How are you, brother? NK, who's NK? NK iPhone. Anybody? I also see iPhone 6478769. Gary Foy's in. All right. Got a crew here. Someone just texted me. Maybe someone's trying to get in. Let me see real fast. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Perfect. Let me just respond to this text real quick. Because someone's looking, they may be on a different link. Because we have different links for different, like we have a book club and that has a different Zoom link than the others. So nobody's on the right one. Good. All right. Let's see what time we got. 10:01. We'll give everybody one more minute to show up and get live. Let me see if I can see more people. I can expand this. Edit my view. I don't know if I can see everybody, so that's great. Well, it looks like we have probably at least 9 or 10 people on. So, I'm sorry. I see Carolina. I got Maggie, Beth, Gary Foy. I got a 703 number. Who's 703? You might be muted, by the way. I got NK iPhone. All right, good deal. Hey, let's get started. Let me, you guys can see my screen right now, right?
Yes.
Okay, on there, perfect, good deal.
Yes.
And if you guys haven't been on a Zoom session before, they're pretty simple. You're just gonna kind of watch along. Sometimes we end up speaking over each other, so we have to look for clues on that. You can mute yourself, all right? So if you need to do so, or if you got a lot of background noise or something going on at your house, then please do so that we'll make it convenient for everybody. And let me jump in. I got the PowerPoint pulled up, I believe. I'm gonna minimize this just so I won't be able to see you guys necessarily all the time, so I can just make sure I can see my screen okay. And if you got issues, but we're gonna dig in. So this is technically the third session of 100K, right? So is anybody on the call that has not been to the first two, either one of the first two sessions? You've been at least to one of the first two sessions. Zach, looks like you're raising your hand. I didn't know you could even do that. That's pretty cool. How'd you do that? Nice. So Zach, are you saying you have not been to either one of the first two sessions? You're muted, by the way.
There we go. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
I'm trying to keep it on mute, but
Yeah, no problem.
No, I have not been to either of the first two sessions, and I'm on the mobile app, and this is a new thing for me, so we'll figure it out.
All right, perfect. No problem. That's great. All right, that just so I know, we're going to go dig down, and you might want to, at this point, if we're talking about stuff that doesn't sound familiar to you, on the FHR University under the 100, there is a 100K tab. You can go back and look at the first two sessions from this session. I think you can look at sessions from previous, like the spring of 2019 and even further back if you wanted to catch some of those. So it's there. So let me just check this. Let me just. Perfect. All right. Jill's back. Hey, Jill.
Hey, hi, Bob. How you doing?
Good. Oh, Joe's here.
Yes.
Hey, very good. All right. Okay, so let's get into session 3. So in session 3, here's when we generally start to really dig in and get down to business. We've kind of laid out some things in the first 2 sessions, right, about how we're going to attack, remember, with our corn planting and our orange growth. And we're going to start getting into now some specifics as well as some assignments for those who want to get things done. Remember that we are in the 4th quarter. There's plenty of time. One of the agents who was just texting me trying to get on, she's a brand new agent. She was in the book club yesterday and been in the business about 2 weeks, I think, maybe 2.5 weeks, had her first open house over the weekend. So working with 2 clients already. So that people obviously that she did not know on Friday that she now knows after the weekend because she was willing to step out and go get things done. So I'm just going to encourage you 100%. Again, if you're looking for business, if you do not have any business right now, or if you do not have the amount of business that you would desire, that you go become what we call open for business, right? There's no way you can expect to, if you owned a donut shop, not that we would own a donut shop as 100Kers. If we owned a celery juice shop, all right, let me put it another way, all right? And we couldn't expect to sell celery juice or any type of other juice, carrot juice or anything else, if we weren't open for business, right? And so for how agents go around expecting business to fall in their lap without any effort never ceases to amaze me. I'll be honest with you, that there is an expectation of somehow it's just because you passed a test and now it's just going to magically appear. It's going to take work. You have to go out there and seek it. Anybody who thinks that you're not going to seek it. Now, again, well, Bob, you sound like you're talking out of both sides of your mouth. You're saying we're not going to chase, we're going to attract. That's true, but you got to put yourself in a position where you're attracted people, right? You're not trying to chase them down. You're going to work with people that have raised their hand and said that they need your help, but you've got to go find those people somehow, some way. All right. So I'm going to revisit, we're going to revisit our corn planting initially. All right. So in the corn planting, excuse me, I'm fighting a little bit of a cough, so I don't mean to cough in your ear, and I'll try and put my mouth away from the mic whenever I can. Okay, so corn planting, remember we talk about, this is simple, I got this. We got bank-owned open houses, or what we call traffic-generating events, ways that we can get ourselves in front of people so that we can get eyeball to eyeball with people, right? I'm going to go through this slide first, and then I'm going to come back and ask questions of people and help overcome what issues you're having in trying to create this. All right. So remember, the overall purpose is to generate traffic. So we get our eyes, get in front of people. We've got to get good once we're in front of them at converting them into new business. Remember, the goal is to get to the closing table, right? The goal is not to make new friends. The goal is not to have a great time. The goal is not to, boy, I don't know. It's just, I really like people. So here I am, and it was just wonderful. Well, are you working with them? Are you showing them property, and are we closing them? Well, no, but we sure like each other. Well, who cares? All right. I know it sounds harsh, but the reality is the goal is to get to the closing table. And if what you're doing is not getting you to the closing table with people, then it's not effective. Now, again, remember, this is 100K. We don't pull punches. It's time to get nitty gritty and get down to business, right? You can become an expert in investor buying. Real quickly on that one, in all of the upcoming grow sessions for November. So if you remember, I usually wander around to the offices. I don't hit them all in a month, but I at least hit a couple in each area, right? So you can make sure you're have an opportunity. I do have a virtual one that's going to be on the calendar as well. But in every growth session in November, I'm going to be teaching the class Speak the Language of an Investor, right? So if you haven't attended that, or if you attended it and you have questions still, make sure you look for that calendar when it comes out. Mara and I are going to be going through and creating the calendar for November this afternoon. So just be aware if you're looking for that, because it's a totally different language, right? It's not the language of down payment assistance. It's not the language of, hey, let me show you, get out of the renting mode. You know, these guys are, and gals, these investors are looking to put people into the renting mode, right? So totally different language, right? We're going to work first-time home buyers with vigor. We're going to learn programs that assist us with that. By the way, I don't know if we talked about it in this. Well, here, write this one down. Okay, ready? Figure it out. FIO. It comes from your ability, because you're smart people, to not have the expectation of being spoon-fed every flippin' thing. All right? You've got a wealth of knowledge at your fingertips called Google and Bing and wherever else you want to search, right? That if you're looking for down payment assistance programs in the greater Tampa area 2019, October of 2019, put it into Google and you'll get 48,000 search returns, right? So quit trying to pretend like, I can't figure this out, all right? You're smart and go figure it out. FIO, figure it out. You're intelligent people. You passed a real estate exam, so I'm assuming you can read, right? Okay. And so go educate yourself. And people think, boy, it's, no, we're not here to spoon feed you. I mean, again, you're crying to the wrong person if you're trying to cry to me. Remember, I told you I did this. I figured it out without Google and without a computer, right? So I've got no sympathy for you if you can't find a good, legitimate lender who's has great first-time homebuyer programs that will do what they say they're going to do. You just go work with some, find them out, interview them, and figure out who's going to be the best for your client. All right. And then again, the whole concept here is we're going to let our buyers lead us to our listings rather than our listings lead us to our buyers. Now, that in a nutshell, I'm just telling you, you could go spend hours at any real estate training trying to get the latest and greatest. Here's what we're going to do, and we're going to do pop buys and all this kind of stuff. And I get all great stuff, by the way. But in a nutshell, if you did these bullet points right here, all right, on a consistent basis and had a commitment to that, I have no doubt that you would significantly increase the amount of business you're doing. Now, many of you don't want to do it. I get it. All right. There's nothing, I mean, it is what it is. I'm not saying you want to do it. I'm just saying if you did this. I make the statement every time I teach this class, and I said, I fully believe it, that you could blindfold me, tie me up, gag me, put me in the back of a trunk, and drive me around for 48 hours, and then drop me off in some place in anywhere in the United States of America, right? And say, okay, your job, you've got 1 week. All right. And in that 1 week, I'd have something under contract. And you know what I do? This right here. What? But I'm just telling you, all I ask for is a license to sell real estate in whatever state you end up dropping me. Right. But as long as I have that to work from, I'll go to the library and find the internet. I'll get free internet. Right. I'll go I'll go sweep floors at a local business so I can earn enough money, get paid in cash, so I can go make some bank foreclosure open house signs. All right. And I guarantee that I'll have something under contract in a week. So those of you that are looking for business and I can't get my business started and I don't know, I've been doing this for 6 months. Now let me remind you, okay, everybody raised their hand when they came to class that first time that said they agree that they refuse to be offended by me, right? So this is rubber meeting road here, all right? Yeah, introduce yourself, okay? Rubber meet road, road meet rubber, here we go. And if you are lacking business, you need to do that. Now, that being said, and I've given you the tough love, let me give you some soft love. How can I help you achieve this? What's stopping you? Anybody?
Can you hear me?
Yes, who is this?
Hi guys, Carolina.
Hey, Carolina.
Okay, so Alejandra, who is not here, she went to her kids' field trip, but she secured 4 open houses for bank-owned properties for us. And last week we had a buyer who came in, and actually we have been communicating with this lady who is going to be putting an offer on that property. The point is, if she doesn't get the property, she's now in our space because we got her personal information, and I was in shock when it worked. So much so that Alejandra was looking at me like, I have the contract, let's have this woman sign it. But I honestly was in shock, Bob, because I didn't think it was going to happen like that. I didn't.
Okay, now let me back it up. First of all, huge kudos to you and Alejandra for stepping out and doing it, right? Number one. All right, John, we talked about this yesterday, right? Everybody else is waiting until they've got everything perfected and they've got their script down, and you know, it's the good plan executed today is far better than a perfect plan never executed, right? Many of you are still sitting around making sure your blue pins are separated from your red pins, which are separated from your green pins. And then if I just organize my desk one more time, and then, oh, look at the time. Sorry, I can't make any calls. Or, oh, too late. I got to pick up the kids. I can't do an open house, right? Screw that. Just go do it, right? Again, I'm just telling you. So, kudos to you. Now, Carolina, back me up, and let's back up further. Okay. Do you know how she got those open houses? How she was able to secure them?
Yes. So Allie went onto the MLS, and she found, oh my God, she just queried it.
There's a search parameter called REO.
Yes. Yeah.
So you put that in as I want only REO properties. Okay, go.
So she just started calling the listing agents, and some of them were real schmoes about it. Some of them were like, well, what do you want out of it? And we're like, well, we want to get traffic. We're looking to get people that come without representation. It would be a big perk if we're able to get you an offer on your property. But if not, basically, we're going to get the buyer leads. And boom, just like that, we got 4 yeses. Okay. I will share that we ordered signs, which was an epic fail. They never showed up. So Alejandra went to the office and printed banked, foreclosed, we basically put tape on our existing signs, which looks really crappy, but it didn't matter because it got the job done.
I'm just telling you guys this, and every time we teach this class, this is exactly what happens when people implement, right? It's like, I love epic fails, right? But were we going to be stopped, right? Are we going to let the storm on Saturday stop? You know what I mean? Now,
and it was pouring. You're right. It was absolutely pouring on Friday night, and even on Sunday it was, drizzling a little bit.
But you showed up. Now here's a couple things I want to point out. Again, huge kudos to you and Allie for doing it. Number one. Number two, life rewards those who do. Right? There is no getting around it. Right? That life will always reward those who do. And let me share you a secondary benefit that's coming that you don't even know yet, is every time somebody implements and does something like this, what will happen is your existing sphere of influence will sense something's going on. And they're like, hey, I couldn't get a hold of you. Oh yeah, why? Oh, so I was at this bank foreclosure. Oh, you were? That's, you know what? I forgot all about that. You're a realtor, aren't you? I'm just telling you, it has happened. I had a guy that had been in the business 5 years, never done any business, said, Bob, I don't know what to do. I said, have you been to 100K? No, I haven't, right? So he comes to 100K, sits a couple bank-owned open houses, just posts them on Facebook that, hey, I'm going to be sitting this foreclosure open house, then puts 3 deals together in the next 3 months with people that are already in his sphere of influence, that just like, hey, John, I can't remember the guy's name. John, I forgot that you were a realtor, but I saw you post about doing that bank foreclosure on Facebook, and by the way, my sister-in-law needs to sell her aunt's home that she just inherited through probate. But you know what I mean? I don't know, but that is just when you open the door to the cosmos, all right? I call it blessings. You show God you're willing to work, he's willing to pour out blood, but he's not going to pour out blessings on somebody that's not willing to do the work, right? But once you tell the world that you're willing to work, good things happen. And you're already working with a client, and I guarantee there are more.
I have a question, Bob, that we both have collective question on this. So we did bring an as-is contract, and I want to learn from this because I feel that the lady would have, our client now, she would have actually put in an offer on the spot. But what we did is we started talking because, again, the shock factor happened, and I think I couldn't contain my face.
Right.
But we started basically suggesting that she needed to get a pre-qualification letter. And so that has been the delay thus far. Should we have just gone with it and accepted the contract was there. We could have had written it up on the spot, submitted it to the agent. And then in the meantime, we never do work like that. We always get everything up front. And that's the standard that has always been, you know what I mean? So what do you say to those bank open houses when people walk in and they want to just basically put an offer on the spot? What is your suggestion?
First of all, it's rare that they want to buy the house that you're sitting in. And so that's huge.
She lives in the neighborhood, and that's the only reason.
Perfect. Yeah. Now, is it going to be an investment property or a home for her?
Yes. No, it's an investment property.
So what I would have done is that's number one, right? And then our four criteria for a buyer is able to buy, right? So I'd say, okay, but let me tell you that any loan officers in the session today, right? None that I know. Okay, perfect. Doesn't matter. Okay, guess what? And now I'm really going to say it. Okay, loan officers are not rocket scientists. All right. Okay. Gotcha. What they do, you can do. I remember I told you early on in my career, I would travel with my clients to their loan application. I'm of all, a lot of them needed hand-holding anyway. And second of all, and this is all before we could do it online, and I get all this. Things have changed. I'm not an idiot, all right? So I get all this. But I also wanted to know the process, right? I mean, I was a math guy. If they're punching things on a calculator, I want to know what are they punching in, and what's it spitting out, and what's telling them yes or no, right? What are they looking for in a yes, right? So I got pretty good at knowing what debt to income ratios would fly. I got to pretty good to understanding what kind of questions they would ask, right? So I, in this case, would have said, hey, so let me ask you this. So on an investment property, obviously you're not getting an investment property for, 3% down. Right. So do you have downstroke available, Mrs. Jones? Right. Oh, and, I said, if you're really, we can't get you a pre-qual letter maybe, but I do. I also would have a lender on speed dial that I trust.
That's so true. We have them too.
Yeah. That could get me a pre-qual. Hey, look, you know what, if you're serious about making an offer on this, let's get you with my guy or gal and just see if we can get you at least do a soft pre-qual and just get an idea, because I'm sure that the bank is, but at the end of the day, my first year in real estate, all right, was killer. I wrote about $8 million worth of real estate.
Wow.
However, I only closed about 2.5 because I was writing everybody, right? I could care less. All right, you want to write? Let's write, right? And so, and if nothing else, it was great practice for me. But I found out they were, now, to be more efficient, ideally, I would get them pre-qualified at first. But at the end of the day, if somebody wants to make an offer and I'm there, I say write it up. That's my own personal opinion. You guys got any feedback for me? Anybody else?
I do, Bob.
Yeah.
I definitely would have written it, especially if you're a newer agent, because you go through the process of writing the offer and you get faster and faster. There's no reason why it shouldn't take you much more than 15 or 20 minutes in form simplicity once you get used to it. And the other thing is, even if you know it's a weak offer, like let's say it's a low ball offer, if you feel good about this particular person, just doing what I call going through the motions with them shows them that you're competent, that they know that you know what you're doing. It develops their confidence in you. Yes. And also, they don't want to go do it with somebody else. Like nobody wants to go find a new agent. So if they see you jump in there, write the paperwork up expertly, and sort of, like I said, just between you and me, go through the motions, you are solidifying your relationship with that person right in front of them.
Agreed.
Amen.
Loyalty, John. Thank you. Okay.
Yep.
I got a little different opinion, a little bit different on that. So all right. So I've been doing this and it's worked. I finally got, it's going to turn into an offer and a listing as well, which is great.
Wait. Stop. This is okay. Your name is, again, I know who you are, but make sure the group does.
This is Joe Zucchero.
Hey, Joe. So you set a bank foreclosure open house a couple months ago, actually. You've been doing it for a little bit, right?
Yep.
And now you've got a buyer. And look at the last bullet point. You've also got a what?
I have a seller. Same person.
No.
It's the same people.
Wait. I thought you had to list first before you got buyers.
Well, we're doing both. We're doing both right now.
Amazing thing, that mind blown. All right. Okay, go on. Give me your other take. Give us
but this was an interesting group because they came by and I just was persistent, but slowly I set up a query in the MLS, right, and said here's what they wanted. I knew what they were looking for. They were doing their own stuff, and I kept didn't hear from them. Right, it was like, all right, whatever, but I'm just going to keep sending that stuff every day. Yep. And then all of a sudden I get a phone call. Hey, we want to go see this place. Okay, let's go. So we're going to that, and we had to go separately, the wife and the husband, different times. Great, no problem. And they said, let's go through this. So let's talk about the process. And again, I come from you build a team, right? So I've been talking to a certain lender who's been helping me. I've been talking to a certain title agent who's been helping me. And they said, here's some of the things. So I was able to explain the whole process to them. And the other day I said, okay, here's what we really need to do for this, because we're going to go after a short sale. I mean, it's not an easy one. And they said, well, you got us to it. We trust you. And I was like blown away by that. I was blown away. It's not because I tried to force them into anything. They said, no, we trust you, and this is how we're going to do it. We get this, and it's still going to take time. Don't get me wrong. It's probably not going to be fourth quarter, but it's going to get there. And I've got, and listen, I also learned doing these open houses. I've done about 4 or 5 of them now. A lot of crap comes through, and don't waste your time with it. Just do a couple of questions up front. Hey, go look around. I don't even capture their names anymore if they're not interested, and I put a little app together to capture names, that kind of fun stuff, because I'm a techie. And we just go through, and then if someone's interested, great. If someone's, I'm working with a realtor, well, good. And someone said, I'm working with a realtor, could you send me this? I said, well, I use the whole, is your realtor talking about this, this, and this? I said, well, we really like our realtor. I said, you should have them do the work for you. I'm not gonna, and I said, I'm not here to steal clients. I told them just like that. If you got someone you trust, go with it. But if you're not working for you, here's my card, that kind of thing. That's it. And it's starting to, I'm getting a couple folks, well, maybe later. I got about first quarter, I got about 5 strong prospects right now that are going to be first quarter prospects. All for this.
Yeah, I'm just telling you, and it's all the beauty of this whole thing. And huge thumbs up. We did that yesterday. If we were on social media, this is my virtual, I don't know if you can see my screen, but this is my virtual, see my picture. This is my virtual heart. All right, I'm hearting your comment there. Good job. I'm just telling you, it's the consistency will pay off, guys. It's
persistence. It's persistence. It really is.
Just stick with it. The beauty of these open houses, these traffic generating events is you don't know them Saturday morning, right? So if you don't convert them, you've lost 0. It's not like you know what I mean? I mean, I don't know how to get that through to you, right? It's a mindset shift from, boy, I hope I can maybe get a client here, to they are going to be so lucky to get a client, to get to use me as their realtor.
Bob,
Right.
I have a quick question.
Fire. Who is this?
This is Naomi.
Hey, Naomi. Hey, you found it.
Sorry?
You found the link.
Yes, I found the
Okay,
link.
good. All right, good.
Yes, so this is not really related to open houses, but it goes back to getting, working with a client that hasn't been pre-qualified yet. I have this client. We're looking at houses right now, but she hasn't finished her application. I've spoken to the lender. She does say she has a program for people with her credit score with a 10%. So right now we're just going word of mouth. Hey, if given that your down payment would be 10%, what do you think you could afford? What do you think would be your price range? So right now we're looking at houses of what we think are in her price range. How common is that? Because when she finished her application, her budget might be completely different.
Well, the other thing I would do is and that, by the way, kudos to you. Naomi is the one I mentioned that's only been in the business about 2.5 or 3 weeks, is already doing open houses and already working with clients, guys. So again, huge thumbs up to you. But the when you spoke to the lender and says, hey, look, yeah, with her credit score, they've also got got programs at 10%, 90% LTV. Then I would say my follow-up to the lender would be, okay, and what kind of price point are we talking about then? Right?
Okay.
Have you looked at her debt to income ratio? That's a word you want to use. All right. Have you looked at her debt to income to find out what kind of price point should we be, keeping our, our searches under or at or somewhere in that range?
Okay, yeah, the thing is that my client hasn't finished her application yet. I keep reminding her, but because of work, it's taken her a while to, she's halfway through her application, so.
Yeah, well, the lender could ask, if the lender did a conference call with she and the lender could say, hey, look, let's just finish this up, number one, or number two, either way, and while you're finishing all the other stuff, gathering the details, everybody knows how much they make.
Yes.
All right, so that's what you're looking for is, okay, if they've already pulled credit and they know what a soft pull credit score is, then the next question is how much do they make? And between those two things, you should get a really good grasp on how much they can afford.
Okay.
So that's the only thing that's missing from there.
Hey, Bob.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
This is Amber Huddleston. I'm on
Hey,
Joe. I just had a quick comment. So I've been in the business since August, and I've been doing open houses like crazy.
Yep.
On that day that the weather was terrible.
Yeah.
I did one on Sunday, and it went really well.
Nice.
I have 6 or 7 contacts from it, one of which turned into a $600,000 buyer with a $400,000 listing for Joe. Just for being there.
Just wandering in unrepresented, right? Oh, all those kind of people are already represented, right?
Only for 2 weeks, so she wants to do it quickly, and she didn't have a realtor. And I said, "How about tomorrow?" And she said, "Great."
Hello. Awesome, Amber. Huge thumbs up, hearts, everything else. All right. Great job. I mean, just be willing to be out there, right? Again, that client, I almost guarantee, if you're in the $600,000 and $400,000 listing, she's already been on Zillow a billion times.
Yep.
Right? She saw 48,000 ads on Zillow for great realtors. Right? But she walks into your open house and you win.
Yeah, I was surprised at how willing she was to just sit down and talk. We sat down.
I get it, guys. Stop being surprised. Everybody's like, I'm surprised. I'm surprised this is working. But you got to go experience it. And kudos to you guys for being surprised. I love it. All right, but you aren't going to be surprised if you never went and did it. So huge. Kudos to you. But I'm just telling you. People say, "Oh, open houses are a waste of time. They're only for the that." Again, they might be a waste of time if you've got 48 other showings to do that day, right? Because you're already working with clients. But if you are looking for clients, you've got to be open for business. If I'm going to go sell juices, I've got to be open for business. I can't expect to, necessarily do it. Here's the other, and again, Joe mentioned it, right? Hey, we trust you, right? Carolina, you and Ollie obviously found a way to get this person to trust you in 2 minutes.
Yes, and can I just say that we are now prospecting the Fizzbuzz. And actually my last listing, our last listing in Port Richey was a straight up Fizzbuzz that I was persistent about 4 to 5 phone calls, and he interviewed 3 agents and we got the job. We got the listing. And this weekend, there's a Fizzbuzz in Dover, pretty high up there in the 6s that we've been prospecting, and we had an appointment with him yesterday. He's not open to listing, but we're doing a complimentary like open house this weekend.
I love it. You guys hear that? Add it for sale by owner.
Listing. Right. So the point is that God is good, and the Fizzbuzz, I'm feeling the Fizzbuzz right now, and I'm all about the Fizzbuzz.
Good.
So that's it. That's what
there
it's
are techniques. Now. I mean, a Fizzbuzz has already raised their hand saying, I have a need, right? Agreed? All right.
Yes.
It's one thing to cold call or send a bunch of mailers to a blind neighborhood, right? That's great. But if you start to hone in, and we talk about hunting with a sniper rifle as opposed to a shotgun, right? Because now we're starting to narrow in. Boom, boom. A for sale by owner has already said, hey, look, and most of them have said, hey, look, I've got a need, and either they think they can figure this out on their own. By the way, I've got a great, I use that word a lot, great, but it has to do with trainings that I've done. So that's that healthy self-esteem in me, right? I've got a very good, great training on FHR universities on how to talk to Fizzbuzz.
Okay.
You get a chance to look at it. It's coming. It all stems from way back in 1995. I went to my mandatory training class at the brokerage I was with, and this old school lady said, you're going to go in and tell them only a fool represents themselves in court, and you're an idiot for trying to sell your own house. And I said, that doesn't feel too good. I don't feel right about that, right? By the way, if someone did that to me, right, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, right? Tell me I can't sell my own bike. I'm going to sell my bike on my own, right? Whatever it is. I found, so instead, you'll see in that training where we go and say, hey, look, I get it. Why wouldn't you? I mean, if I were you and I could sell my house without having to pay a 6% commission, I'd do it too, as long as I was going to net more money. But let me ask you this, right? And then we start a dialogue, right? Say, look, first of all, I'd say, look, I'm on your side. I get it. And in the meantime, how can I help you, right? And you're doing the right things by offering to do open houses for them, so on and so, because you're now establishing a relationship. Right. By the way, yeah, please do. By the way, critical component to trust. Joe mentioned it. Amber, obviously you did a great job of getting this person to feel like she could trust you in a very short time period. So kudos to you. Trust is built on 2 components: character and competence. Right? Character being, you've got to be trustworthy, the type of person that elicits trust, a person of your word, person that will do what they say they're going to do, so on and so forth. Okay, that's character. However, you've got to back that up with competence. You can be full of character and a bloomin' idiot in real estate, and you're going to screw the deal. I'm just telling you, right? And no one's going to hire you because, hey, look, they'll pat you on the hand, say, hey, she's the nicest person in the world, but she has no clue on what she's doing in real estate. You're not getting the job, right? So don't fool yourself into saying it's always being nice. It's being nice, character, right, with competence. And you have to marry the 2, right? And you can't have one. And by the way, competence without character, unfortunately, would win over character without competence. We see it all the time, right? Why do people, we won't mention any names, but why do people hire in the Tampa Bay area, people with competence and no character, like the, I'll use rhymes with the Schmunkin Ruo, right? So there's no character there. But they've got fruit on the tree. They sell $48 billion worth of real estate or whatever they out, right? And so with that in mind, excuse me again, You got to have both. But if you can get both, if you can marry character and competence, therein lies that merge of those two. There is the trust circle, and boy, you can win people over in a heartbeat. Cool. Give me some more feedback. Anybody got questions on anything on this slide right here? How'd you do this? What, somebody give me an objection. Yeah, but Bob, you don't know my story. Give me one of those.
Well, I get like jealous when people say, "Oh yeah, that happened next week." Wow, that's awesome, man. I mean, mine's been a little more, planting and spading and weeding and that kind of stuff, but it gets there.
Can I just say something that I'm going into my second year, and now I look forward to the no's. I think I've said this before, because I'm getting closer to my yeses, and I know that sounds like outrageous to some people, but you know what? I really don't care. Give me my 10 no's so I can get my 1 yes and get paid in 45 or 30 days.
Yep. Bob, you're frozen on my screen. I don't know.
Bob, you're totally frozen.
Yeah. There you are.
Yeah, I said that's why I stepped away, because my internet connection was bad. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Yes.
All right, unfrozen. Good. Was I frozen in a good position, or one of those weird,
It was fun.
Okay. All right.
It was weird.
It was weird. Who said it was weird?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to make one comment about character. One of the so when kids come in, I make an opportunity to address the children as well. They are part of the product. I tell everyone they're part of the family, part of the process. And one of the feedback I got at the showing was, my daughter's so shy. I said, well, she's not around me. Well, because she trusts you. She sees that, that you're sincere. So, the old joke on MASH, sincerity, I could fake that. I mean, you can't, and you have to just address everyone, because it's a family buying process.
100% agree. Love it. This is all gold right here, by the way, guys. I mean, you guys are sharing incredible stuff with people. Anybody else got but Bob, you don't know my situation? Give it to me, because I told you, tough love here. I'm going to hammer you, but go ahead and do it anyway. Now no one's going to do it, because
that's inviting.
Exactly. And let me step into a bear trap, please. Right? I'm just telling you guys, you should be encouraged. Remember, I told you part of the process was that we're going to learn from others in the room, right? This is a virtual room. And we're going to get synergized, or we're going to start to get excited, because we're going to see other people having success. And we're like, dadgum, right? It's working, right? So why not? If it's working for them, why not me? Why not, right? I'm just telling you, I want you to have a why not me attitude. That if it can work for others, why not work for you? Okay, fair enough. All right. So here's the thing. Let me just revisit. Amber, real fast, your open house was a traditional open house, correct?
Yeah, it was for an investor's listing.
Okay, perfect. But listening, you guys had your team had?
I'm sorry?
Was it one of your team's listings?
Kind of.
No, it's Ken's listing, her husband.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so kind of. Okay, so not officially listed, but okay, that's beautiful. All right, so but more, you didn't use the word foreclosure on your sign.
No, I didn't.
Perfect, and it worked just fine, right? Yep. Okay, so that works too. Naomi, I know you had an open house. Was yours a traditional open house or a foreclosure open house?
It was a traditional open house, yes.
Okay, perfect. And how was your turnout?
It was all right. I mean, I only had 2 people come in, and it was in a very not so crowded part of the land, but out of those 2 people, I was able to convert one of those into a client. So I'm currently working with her. We're going to go see some houses on Friday.
Perfect.
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. And all we're looking for is 1.
Yes.
Right? Remember, our goal is average 1 per open house. And if I can get there, now I know what my business plan for 2020 is going to look like.
Yes.
Right? If I can get to the point where, hey, look, I just know that I'm going to average 1. Now, to Joe's point, it may not be on the first one, and you might have to work 4 or 5 and end up, hey, by the way, now I'm working with 4 or 5, even if it's in Q1.
Yeah.
But he's averaging 1, right, Joe? You still there,
yes,
Joe?
averaging about 1 and 1.5 actually. So it's getting, it's picking up.
Yeah.
Because you get your conversation better, right? In the
Yeah.
beginning, you're like, oh my gosh, but if you know the process, you really help them, and they see you as helping them guide through a process. Especially a lot of people are looking for a bargain. They're first-time buyers in a lot of cases, and you help them through that.
Yeah, and you know what? But who better to help them through that than you, right? And I'm just telling you, and it gets to be a lot of fun, guys. I'm just telling you, it's when you wake up. You know you've got people that you're helping. It's a totally different way to look at this business. Now, a lot of you are silent and not saying anything. We got more people on here, and that's totally fine. But I don't want you to I want you to be motivated by this, not demotivated, right? We don't beat ourselves up. We're not doing the self-flagellation. We're not whipping ourselves with leather straps and nails in the back, all right? None of that. Okay, I'm not going to issue any penance to you to make up for your lack of doing open houses. I want you to be encouraged that, hey, you know what? These are out there. The ability to go sit them works. Real fast, back to Carolina. You still with us?
I'm here laughing because I get your dry sense of humor.
Well, it's kind of funny. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. If I don't say that, I tend to think I'm very funny. Just don't ask my family.
Hilarious.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Hilarious.
Yeah. Okay, very good. Carolina, let me ask you this: How was your guys'? Your open house was a foreclosure?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
and how was your turnout?
Listen, the first night we met all the neighbors. About 5 neighbors came by, and actually, I will say that they were very nice. I love meeting neighbors because the conversation then went from, hey, how's the market around here? Tell me about your community. Yeah. By the way, if you're ever interested in listing, please, here's my information. Or by the way, if you know someone that's renting, let me know who that is. I would love to talk to them. And we actually did create in our little marketing, we walk with from buying to, from renting to becoming a buyer. So what I'm saying to you is that conversation and engaging with the community, we like to do because it just kind of, in my opinion, this is all about the energy and all that flows in, right? That Sunday, we actually had not a neighbor, but someone that lived in the community that had seen the signs from Friday night. Perfect. And the lady came in, I'm very accustomed with dealing with people of her culture, which was awesome because for me, I was able to connect with her on a very personal level about, why the house has to face a certain way and all of these traditions, why the shoes have to be taken off for cleanliness of the home, etc. So yes, it was a traditional banked owned property. And the way we got it was simply by going into the MLS and selecting the REO. A list came up and just calling the listing agent. Some people are receptive. Some people were jerks. Some people hung up, and then you had the few far in between that said yes. And also emails were sent to those listing agents, just so you guys know as well. Okay. Perfect.
You know what? And here's the thing. Once you've established a relationship with one of those listing agents, now the people who list these REO properties list many of them.
Yes.
And they get a new flow, every week or two, right? A new new set comes in. So you just keep an eye on them and say, hey, look, if you got anything. And there, a lot of times, can I tell you a story? Probably about 3 years ago, one of our agents in Jacksonville reached out to it was a HUD foreclosure, FHA foreclosure, those are listed in the MLS. So he reached out to the agent and she said, well, I don't normally do that, but I mean, I guess you want to. Have you seen the place? And he's like, yeah, dude, don't worry about it. I'm just looking to generate traffic. He's like, go for it. All right, have fun, right? So he does that and meets some people and follows up with feedback. Hey, by the way, just so you know, I had 8 people through, just in case you want to pass that along to anybody that, at the bank, that you can make them aware. And here's some of the feedback we received on the listing regarding price and so on and so forth, right? So, excuse me, 2 weeks later, he gets a call from this agent and says 2 things. Hey, by the way, I got a new one that just came on the market. Would you like to sit an open house there? Right? And this is an agent with another company, right? She's not with Future Home. Would you like to sit an open house there? He goes, yeah. And she said, oh, by the way, I get calls on these properties all the time and I don't deal with buyers. I've got 3 people. Hey, somebody's a little noisy, you got something going on back there, background, something. But I've got these buyers. If I refer them to you, how about on a 25% referral fee? Are you willing to work them? He's like, yeah, right? Okay, why wouldn't I? And the reality is, he asked her, he said, well, why wouldn't you refer these to other people in your office? He goes, why? She goes, I've been in office with, for 10 years with these people. No one's ever asked me to do an open house. So obviously you're motivated and you're, and want to do this. And why would I turn a lead over to somebody who's unmotivated? If I'm going to turn over a lead, I'm going to turn it over to somebody that's getting it done, because a referral is only as good as a closing, right? I only get paid 25% if it actually closes. And so why not turn it over to you? So we established a long-term relationship that this guy was able to work for many, many years. Pretty incredible.
I do have one last question. We did ask the agent if he would kindly put it in the MLS as advertise it as an open house.
Yep.
He didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think now that we kind of, he was ignoring us a little bit. So we had to establish that loyalty factor. And I think now that we were able to produce the results, of what's happening here, would you ask them to advertise the property in the MLS? Because that would have been great. We would have had more traffic maybe.
True, but here's the thing. Who's going to come from the MLS?
Well, that's true.
People that have agents normally, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, and so for me, I was like, I could, what I mean? I guess it wouldn't hurt, but I wouldn't, require it or make it a big deal out of it, because I'm looking for people unrepresented.
Yes, that's a great point.
Yeah, so.
Okay.
Cool. All right, any other questions?
When it's in the MLS, though, Zillow picks it up.
That's
and
true.
the others, so people see that. That's the thing. So
Okay.
so just a quick story here. I just sent a text out to everybody. So this agent I've been working with on this open house, and I'm going to do another one for her this Saturday. She goes, I got a few others. So I just posted them all out there. Her name is Anne French. Is one in Tampa and one in Lithia. I don't do those areas. So there you go. I gave you the contact information.
Perfect. Can you put that on the 100K page, Facebook page?
I can do that.
Yeah, you can. Just, hey, look, she's willing to, here's one I've done some REO open houses for. She's willing. She's got a couple others. And if anybody wants, here's her contact info.
Okay.
Beautiful. Love it. See, now everybody's getting the nose for you even. Now, we are eliminating excuses. We're going to rename this group the Excuse Eliminators.
Yeah, it's amazing the ones you see.
Yeah, and so true. So true. All right, before we get off of bank-owned open houses, corn planting, anybody else got any feedback for us before we move on? All right, great job. Those implementers, huge kudos to you. All right. All right, orange groves. Getting into the next part, all right? None of us want to necessarily do corn planting all our lives. So simultaneously, we're going to do this. Now, the book, you should have read Michael Mayer's 7 Levels of Communication by now. And if you have not, I'm going to go over a couple things here, right? So I'm going to focus on the 4 enriching rituals, right? On my book, I think this is an older slide. It's on pages 60 and 61. But this is kind of a lifestyle, and many of you are already doing this, but I want to reaffirm it and make sure that we're on track here. I want you to go back and reread this if you haven't. We've got what's called, there are 4 rituals, and I'm a firm believer in all 4 of these. The first one is the morning ritual. That includes affirmations, which is when you're speaking positive into yourself, okay? Even speaking positive into who you will be, even if you are not there yet, all right? Blessings. Personal preparation, which should have been done probably the night before. We'll talk about that in a minute. And exercise. There's a great book if you're looking for some extra reading. This is not required reading, but if you're looking for some extra reading, The Miracle Morning for Real Estate Agents. It's basically the second half, takes the story of, I can't remember the guy, Rick, and you guys got the whole, if you've read the book, 7 Levels of Communication, you get that they end up getting together, right? Become a couple, they got married, they got a kid. So then now Miracle Morning kind of picks it up from there. But he talks about how Rick had let himself slide a little bit, and it was time to buckle down again. And he had to get control of his mornings. Hey, John Lowe, are you there? John, are you still on? Maybe he's not. Okay. I was going to have him talk because he.
No, he's there. He's there. He's there.
He?
Just on mute.
Oh, hey, John, are you there? Yeah, I'll unmute you. Are you? I think you're muted.
Bob, you're cutting in and out too.
Am I? Maybe it's.
Can you hear me?
Now I can. Can you guys hear him?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, I had to step out. I've got Rebecca Frate's husband here, Diego. I'm actually sitting in a listing right now that we're doing some remodel work on, and he needed to pull me away quickly to ask a question. So anyways, what can I do to help?
Well, I just talked about the morning ritual, right? We're talking about the 4 rituals, and I know you've kind of done this before, I think, but have kind of rediscovered your mornings a little bit. Have you not recently?
Yeah, definitely.
Would you mind sharing just 2 minutes on kind of what your morning looks like and kind of how you came about the need to do this?
Well, it's something that I had been, doing in the past and got away from, just started developing bad habits. And I went to a Jeff Glover seminar, and he's much more of like, pound the phone, KW bold type guy, like Craig Proctor, which if that's your personality and you can sell houses that way, then that's fine, dial for dollars. That's me particular. But he did say one thing that really struck me, which is when he's working with agents in his office that he's coaching, and he has a very, very successful team, he tells them it's really important to win the morning. If you don't win the afternoon, then that's okay, but you'll never win the afternoon and you'll never win the day if you don't win the morning. So what does that mean? It means, get up early enough so that you have some time for yourself, whenever that may be. If you have kids that you have to get to school, you might have to get up at 5 or 4:45, but get up, take some time for yourself, tell your significant other, look, this is my time. I need, 30 to 60, 90 minutes, whatever's right for you. And listen to something inspirational. I like to listen to Jim Rohn and people like that, Zig Ziglar on Spotify. Maybe just go for a 30-minute walk, get your head right, sit down with your day, plan out what you want to try and get done so that you've kind of got your stuff together for the day. And then hopefully it'll all fall in place. It probably won't. Maybe some of it will, maybe most of it will, maybe all of it will. But if you don't do that, it definitely won't happen for you. So that's sort of that in a nutshell.
That's awesome. And I'm just telling you, and he hit on a couple key points here, right? Part of the morning ritual is having a plan, but it's also taking care of yourself, right? Is making sure my head's on straight, because going through a scheduled morning without my head on straight does me no good, right? Then I'm not attacking it in a proper mindset. So kudos to you for recognizing the need and seeing that. But I'm just telling you guys, you can get people say, well, how do I get up at 4:45? Well, it means you go to bed early, right? First of all, and you're not wasting time. You're not, we're going to talk about that here, one of the rituals as well, that and I had to learn all this too, all right? But the ability to get up on time starts with the ability to go to bed on time and go to sleep, right? Not just go lie in a prone position, right? There's a difference in lying in a prone position and actually falling asleep. And part of that problem is you're in a prone position, but your hands are still here, right? You got to put down the electronics, set it aside, and actually allow your mind to decompress, all right? So morning ritual, different for everybody. But I'm telling you, you can't win the day unless you win the morning. And that's exactly what John just said, right? So perfect. Great job. Next ritual is what we call the pre-leave ritual. Here's the deal on the pre-leave ritual. There's some important things here. I've evolved as I've taught this, and I've actually talked to Michael Mayer, who wrote the book about this. And he said, hey, look, no, he goes, I kind of like what you're doing with it. hear me on this one and give me 3 minutes, and I'll try not to cough too much in your ear. Pre-leave ritual. None of us has a few of us have a desk. If we do have a desk, it's a moving desk, right? For me, it's a moving desk. It's wherever my laptop is at the time is my moving desk. Sometimes it's all over the place, right? But when it's time to leave, because I now know that let me back it up. So what you need to do is let's say you've got a mandatory something coming up, right? I got to go pick up the kids from school. I've got to go do something outside of real estate, whatever it might be, right? But you're in the midst of all this stuff. You're working on 2 potential for sale by owners that you're trying to put CMAs together for because you're going to do a presentation. You've got 3 buyers, files out in front of you that you're working with some sort of reference, and everything else is going on, right? So you're in the midst of it. All of a sudden you look at your watch and it's like, oh crap, I'm supposed to have left 3 minutes ago to go pick up the kids, and you just get up and go, right? I'll catch it later. The problem with that is that you didn't bring closure to the situation. This is all, I'm just telling you, this is going to change. If you can make this one change, it'll revolutionize your day, right? It didn't bring closure. So instead, what I've learned to do is, gosh, I hate it when I have to clear my throat, and I hate it when speakers do this, so I apologize. So what I've learned to do is set my alarm on my phone 10 minutes ahead of when I need to leave. And what I'm going to do is that alarm goes off. I said, oh, I need to be gone in 10 minutes. Let me wrap up. And I'm going to go over to my files that I'm working with, and I'm going to have a scrap of paper, a piece of paper on my calendar, whatever. And I'm going to then create my first and 10 for the next day. These are things that my first order of business, things I still need to do. Guess what? When I'm working these 2 for sale by owner files, I know what I need to do. All right. Oh yeah, I got to finish up the CMA. So I'm going to write finish CMA on Fizzbuzz Smith. Right? Perfect. And I put that file away. Right. Then on this one, I've already done the CMA. I've got to follow up and set an appointment with him. So Fizzbuzz, number 2, Fizzbuzz Jones, all right, make a call, and here's his phone number. Home phone, work phone, cell phone. Write it all down, right? Put that file away. The 3 buyers do the same thing. I got to follow up with the home inspector to make sure that they got me an updated inspection list, right? Write that down, and here's the inspector's number, right? I'm just telling you, you're creating your to-do list for the next day in 10 minutes while you're in the midst of it. Because here's what I know. If you don't do that, if you left 3 minutes late when you realized it was time to go, left all that mess on your desk, and you went and did the rest of your stuff, 2 things happen, right? First of all, when you're picking up your kid and they get in the car and you say, how's your day, right? The kid starts talking, oh, it's great, I do it, and they start rattling, right? They're rattling through, and your mind is back on your desk thinking, oh man, I still, what did I need to, there's something I was, you know what I mean? So all of a sudden, your kid says, so what do you think about that, Mom? And you're like, oh, that's great, Johnny. And so that's great that the kid punched me in the nose and kicked me in the shin. Like, oh, I really wasn't listening, right? Because your mind was elsewhere. This allows you guys, I'm just telling you, it'll blow your mind, that it allows you to be more productive the next day because you've already got your list of what you need to do. And it allows you to what we call flip the sign. You're closing your real estate business, right? If I owned a celery shop, right, or a juice shop, and I was timed at 5 o'clock, I closed, right? Boom, I flip the sign and I'm not thinking about juice, right? We don't do that enough in real estate. We leave our mind open because we've got this scattered mess. But if we can close, flip the sign, hear me on this, it's critical. If we can learn to flip the sign by cleaning up our stuff, making our list for the next day, now I can go be a dad. I can go be a mom. I can be a soccer coach. I can go be a husband. I can go be my next role without my mind being diverted to the other things. Are you with me?
Yes.
Okay, it's time for you to respond.
Yes.
Can I get an amen? Can I get a hanky wave? Anything? Somebody give me a hallelujah.
Hallelujah. And you'll be able to sleep at night too,
Yeah.
which is nice.
I'm just telling you. So now let's fast forward to the next morning. The next morning I walk in, and before you were going to look at that stuff and so, look at this mess. Where was I? Right? And you spend 45 minutes trying to figure out where you were when you left and what you need to do. Whereas now you got this sheet of paper that says, here's what you need to do. When I started instituting this program, it revolutionized everything. All right. It allowed me, I realized it when I was not fully engaged as a father to the boys at night, because my mind, there was something cathartic about me putting it in writing. It allowed me to mentally flip that sign. So now I was completely, real estate was closed for the day. Now I can go be my next role. Are you with me? Okay.
Yeah.
Start to implement that one thing, guys. I'm telling you, it will revolutionize everything you do. Cool. All right. Pre-sleep ritual. We talked about this already. Some people visualize, other people pray. I do a quick self-analysis myself, right? How'd my day go? I mean, just go it takes less than a minute, right? Boom, boom, boom. Are there things like as I'm doing my quick mental check of my day, it's like, hey, you know what? There's some things that I will get up and I'll go find my first and 10 list, which is my to-do list for the next day, and I'll add something to it real quick. To John's point, he just mentioned it's going to allow you to sleep better. When you get things off your brain and onto paper, it allows your brain to free itself, saying, no need to worry about that. You've at least put it on a list, right? And it'll allow you to free yourself. The other thing is, and I've already mentioned it in passing, put your phone away, right? Get your electronics away, ideally for 30 minutes before you're supposed to be asleep, right? It's hard to do. It can be very hard to do, right? We tell our kids to do it all day long, but it's not so easy for us to actually do ourselves. Are you with me? Okay.
Yes.
And then finally, Sunday night ritual. I've mentioned it in the past, I'm sure. I swear by this one. This is my weekly plan. I'm going to take 10 minutes to review my previous week. Okay. And then I'm going to based upon my results of how I did in my previous week, plan my next week. It's in pencil. It can change. If I do it in pen, it gets scratched through often, right? But if you were in the book club yesterday, John talked about putting your big rocks in first, right? There are certain things I'm going to commit to, I have to do, whether it be picking up the kids from school, making sure they get to their dental appointment, making sure I get to soccer practice, all these things. So you put those things in, those are the big rocks, and then you start to fill in the gaps. Well, now I have time to make some calls here. I've got time to show property there. I've got, you know what I mean? But you've got to put those in, but you've got to have some semblance of an idea of what your relationship looks like, right? Now on here, I even have schedule your clothes and your food. People, that's pretty OCD, right? By the way, true OCD people would not say that it's OCD. It's actually CDO, because CDO is in proper order. That's a good one, Joe. Thank you for that. I appreciate you laughing. All right,
I like that one.
It's not OCD. OCD is out of order. CDO. We got to do it in order. Anyway, here's the deal. Scheduling my clothes. People say, what do you mean schedule your clothes? Who's been on a trip? Anybody go on vacation?
Yeah.
What'd you do when you packed?
Plan ahead.
Yeah, you scheduled your clothes, did you not?
Yes.
How did you pack unless you knew, and you'd even, God forbid, you check the weather in Boston, right? And say, oh, it's going to be 42 on Tuesday, but it's going to be 75 on Thursday. I better pack differently, right? Well, why can't I do that when I'm staying home, right? Literally. And here's another one. You want me to step on toes? How about plan your food for the week? I'm not just talking about what I'm going to feed everybody for dinner. That's a start. That's important as well. But how about plan what I'm going to eat Thursday for lunch? I read a great book, right? With this Body for Life. I think I've mentioned it before. Body for Life. And it was written in the 80s. And it talks about a lifestyle change. It's about, gives you some techniques on how to lift weights and all these different cardio things and everything else. But also talks about eating right. And he made a statement that hit me, nailed me right between the head, because I was in the midst of selling a lot of houses and being 20 pounds overweight. And he nailed me right between the eyes. He says, if today's Monday and you don't know what you're eating for lunch on Thursday, you lose. I'm like, ouch. That hurt, because I was eating on the fly. You don't know my situation, dude. All right, I can't remember who wrote the book, so I'll call him dude. All right, you don't know my situation. I'm so busy selling houses, you know what I mean? And next thing I know, there I was at 7-Eleven heating up one of those godforsaken burritos. Can you believe that? I used to eat those godforsaken burritos at 7-Eleven with a big gulp and a bag of spicy nacho Doritos. Okay? That is not the lunch of champions, by the way, in case you're wondering. All right? I'm just telling you, instead, I said, hey, you know what? I'm going to get a piece of lean turkey meat, right? Sliced, not organically modified, yada, 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 yada. A nice piece of cheese, honey crisp apple, right? And some celery. I'm going to put it in a little coulis. I'm going to pre-cut this stuff and have it ready to go. And thanks. And you know what? It tastes better. I feel better. And I lost weight, right? But it took some planning. I couldn't just walk out the door on the run saying I'm too late to worry about what's lunch because I got to go show property, right? It takes some discipline, huge discipline to do this, guys. Any feedback for me? Somebody give me something.
Planning food is hard, but it's a must. It's
100%.
I struggle with this. I'm not a kitchen person, but I do enjoy eating well.
Mm-hmm.
And I end up paying the price for it, but as my kids engage in sports and all that stuff, I mean, it doesn't matter. The point is they have to eat right, because I'm not going to feel good if I don't feed my family right. But it's a challenge, and it takes a lot of discipline, and I'm still working through that. So
we got to look at food as fuel.
I got to check it out. I do have to check out the Marley Spoon, because the money I spend on trying to go to Panera to buy something healthy. Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of times it's hard. I mean, I'll be honest with you, and trust me, my wife came out, she was in the finance arena, but out of the restaurant, industry. But restaurants, I don't care how healthy they claim to be, right? They've got to put spoiled food is bad for their bottom line. So in order to keep it's not fresh. I don't care how fresh they think it is. It's not, because they can't afford to have stuff spoil on their shelves, because it kills their bottom line. So they're constantly having to spray with stuff just to keep it fresh, right? Quote unquote fresh, right? So it's hard. It's 100% hard. I get it, but the reality is it's critical, because you got to think of food not as food, but as fuel, right?
And it's expensive, but now my mentality is like, who cares? Like for me, I say who cares, and I don't want to be insensitive. Again, this goes back to economics, but I've already overcome that. I'm going to pay for organic fruit versus something that's been sprayed. I mean, it really is a mindset. And even my family's very aware of, even my kids at their age, that we have to eat what's in our fridge, because we paid a lot of money for it, and there's people starving. I mean, I hate to say it that way, but that's the reality. So it's a great conscious awareness for everyone, but it takes discipline. It takes time, and if I don't allocate the time, my week is ruined.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to food. It's like, oh my God, then I'm struggling every day. So I have to still receive this. So the more I hear it, I keep receiving it. You know what I mean?
Awesome.
Yeah. I think for me, I don't do every meal every day, but I know what I buy when I go to the grocery store to make sure I have those options there.
Yep.
So I may not know what I'm going to have Thursday for lunch, but I know it's going to be something that it's not going to be junk food. It's not going to be that. And my wife and it's only two of us now, so it's a little easier for us. But that's what we do. We in dinner we know what our options are. We may not know exactly what it's going to be, but it's going to be something that's going to be good, and it's made a difference. It's made a huge difference.
That is awesome. Great point, by the way, Joe. It doesn't have to be that it is Thursday night's meal, but I know that I've got things available for Thursday night's meal. Good point. Anybody else? everybody else has got this figured out. I love it. All right. They for me, I thought I had it figured out, and the next thing I know, I'm eating on the fly. And for me, when I ate things on the fly, guess what? They usually had a bun associated with it. It just did, right? It's just, you know, and it wasn't good for me, right? So I'm going to encourage you to, again, here's the thing, baby steps, right? We want to take some, let's set one goal, achieve it, and lock down that victory, right? We're not beating ourselves up over what we didn't do. Let's have a victory on something we did and parlay that into another win, right? We're going to attack it with another win, another win, another win. All right. Okay. So here we go. Here are your assignments for next time. Ready? We'll be meeting back here, by the way, virtually in 2 weeks, except for those in Orlando. Naomi, we'll be in live together next week.
Yes.
Doing some different things, but that's a smaller group. So it's kind of cool because we can be real specific and help overcome situations. So here are some suggestions. I don't call them mandates. I call them suggestions because you're all 1099 independent contractor. If I made them a mandate, they might call me. I might have to start paying your taxes for you. I don't want to do that. All right. Okay. Morning ritual. I'm going to challenge you. Start this one time between now and 2 weeks from now. All right. When it is, say, I'm going to set a goal to do a morning ritual one time. I'm going to actually plan my morning. Just one time. That's all I ask. Because when you do it once, you're going to say, boy, that felt good. Right? I know this. Right? Same thing about doing an open house. You're going to do an open house, say, boy, it worked. I'm surprised that people actually want to do business with me. Right? Okay. Shouldn't be surprising, but sometimes it is. All right. Pre-sleep ritual. Do that once. All right. Challenge yourself. I'm going to go to bed, A, on time, B, 30 minutes before. I'm going to put the electronics away. All right. And I'm actually good. If I'm going to read something spiritual or whatever, I'm going to actually read it on paper, right? The action, not an electronic. I mean, because I got an electronic Bible and all this stuff, and I have to physically go read the actual thing, right? Okay. Pre-leave ritual, that first and 10 idea, I'm telling you, implement that one time. Small victories, guys. All right. I'm not asking you to rock your world tomorrow. All right. I'm just doing it to ask you to do it once in the next 14 days. Time block. That is all part of it. By the way, it's part of your pre-leave ritual. All right. And you're also part of your, at the end, the Sunday night ritual. I want you to focus on physical fitness and eating right because it's critical to your success. All right. Whether you believe it or not, trust me on that as much as you didn't trust me on the open houses and surprised that they work. Right. Do that on this too. All right. Everybody good? Anything feedback yet? Everybody with me? Okay. 10 power notes. If you don't know what a power note is, go look it up in the book. Right. 7 levels of communication. What would I take? First of all, the power note, look in the glossary of the book. It gives you all this points to a power note, right? They have all sorts of illustrations of power notes there. But the thing is, the key here, write 10 notes, handwritten. I know, handwritten in blue ink, upward slant, all that stuff that they've got, right? Okay, just give me 10 notes, handwritten in blue ink that don't ask for business. Okay, you hear me? We're not saying, hey, by the way, now that you've read my note, you loved it, that you got a personal note, now I'm going to drop the hammer on you. All right? Forget the hammer. Just thinking about you, I drove by a sign that said hot yoga. And I remember you were doing hot yoga at one point. How's that going? And it reminded me of you, right? Well, be careful. Guys, don't write that to a lady. All right? You get yourself in trouble. All right? Okay. But bad example. Whatever, you know, if something reminds you of somebody, right? Hey, I was watching the World Series and I saw this dude that's 5'6" named Jose Altuve that's crushing it and overcoming. And it, you know, reminded me that your son's really into baseball. How's it working out for him? Right? Whatever. Okay. Just make it something personal that, hey, look, they thought of me, and do it. 10 of them. It's easy to do, guys. All right. Do one every 0.87 days. And I'm sorry, actually, every 1.3 days in the other direction, and you'll have them done. Cool? 10 power notes.
Do them while you're at your open house.
Well, yeah, there you go. Thank you. While you're at a traffic generating event, number 7, and there's a lull in between people coming, write some power notes. Real quick thing on power notes. Remember, we're not putting our card in there. We're not putting them with an FHR logo on the card. None of that. Go get something that is personalized to you. Here's a quick word on this. We got time. Quick word on this. We called it unbranded branded. All right, write that down. Unbranded branded. What does that mean? Get something. Let me give you an illustration. There's a lady that's with FHR that attended 100K probably 4 years ago now, and she's really into bicycling, right? Okay, so everybody knows her as she's like bikes, like long distances kind of bicycling, right? She found these really cool cards, I think, at Target that had just like an embossed bicycle on them. That was it, right? So that was her unbranded branded, because they got a note from her and they thought, oh, yeah, that's right, Pat, that's her name. Pat is into bicycling. That must, that's from Pat, right? So think of something that, hey, look, everybody knows Naomi loves cats. And I'm just picking out something I don't know that love cats or don't love. But if that's it, then find some cat note cards, right? Just whatever it is, all right? Are you with me? Are you following so it's unbranded, and we're not saying Future Home Realty, but it's still branded to you personally. Are you with me? Yes?
Yeah. So for those of us who are new and haven't read the book, would I be able to find about power notes on Google?
Yes, you can. Write Michael Mayer power notes, and I bet you'd find it. Yep. And, I think I might have an extra copy of the book, so when I see you next Wednesday, I can bring it.
Okay, I would appreciate that.
Okay, no problem. All right. Traffic generating event, everybody with me there? Get an accountability partner. All right, gotta have it. Somebody that's gonna push you, drive you, make you do things. Sunday night ritual, that's our 4th ritual, right? We got the first 3 are up to numbers 1 through 3, and then we finally figured out number 4 and number 9 here. Sunday night ritual, do that one time is all I'm asking. You only got 2 Sundays though. The other ones, you got multiple days to do your ones, but you've only got 2 Sundays between now and when we meet next. So I want you one time to do a Sunday night ritual, all right? And then this is critical, I've referenced it already. Start by making small promises to yourself and keeping them. Those of you that are reading the book club with us, right? You know where I'm getting this, right? That it all starts, we've got to make small promises, because if I can't keep my own promises to myself, how can I expect to keep a promise I make to you? Are you with me? It's very, very important. So start by these little things. And then these little things, by the way, turn into big things, because these are big issues right here. Because remember, again, book clubbers, if we can figure out how to control ourselves in our day 1 and day 2 issues, then that allows us to solve day 5 and day 6 issues down the road. Right? With me? All right. We got those down. Don't forget our commitments. We're willing to change, honest and accountable, read a book a month, get 8 hours of sleep a night, 64 ounces of water, 30 minutes of cardiovascular exercise, volunteer at a nonprofit, right? Go find one. You should be searching that out. Donate 10% of your income to a church, a synagogue, or some other nonprofit that you are passionate about. Worship once a week, preferably at a corporate worship setting, meaning a group setting, but other like-minded people, all right? And finish. Don't just start things, finish them, right? Easy to start, hard to finish. Cool?
Yes.
All right. Questions? I promised I'd be done by 11:30, and look at it's 11:24 on my watch. Anything I can? Yep, go ahead,
Just to
John.
confirm our next meeting date and time.
Next meeting date and time is 2 weeks from today, whatever that might be. Who's laughing? What's so funny? What do we do? All right.
The 13th, I think that is the 13th.
Say 13th? Yep, 13th of November.
Okay.
10 a.m. on Zoom.
All right.
because John
Anyone's
likes
looking
to.
for something to volunteer, I got lots of ideas. DM me. I mean, just
Yeah, perfect. That's Joe Zucchero again. So is it Zucchero or Zucchero? How do you say it?
Zucchero.
Joe?
Zucchero.
I put the emphasis on the wrong syllable.
Yep. That's the preferred mispronunciation.
Yeah.
And
I
then,
love it.
Bob, I guess Mara is handling this Zoom presentation for you. And since I did have to step away for 5 or 10 minutes, I want to try and jump back on it and see exactly what I didn't see.
Yep.
Will this be posted up sometime in the next, say, 48 hours?
Mara, are you there?
Yes, I am. It'll be posted by the end of the day.
By
Hey,
end of the
Mara.
day. Yep. Awesome.
Hey, John.
Hey, Mara's my TC, and she is like an angel from heaven.
Oh,
She is an angel from heaven.
Oh,
She is beyond an angel from heaven. So
you
that's
guys are too kind. Thank you.
See, we know how to get things done around here. Gotta just forget, hey, by no raise, Mara, but I'll compliment you. How's that? Is that worth it?
That works. Yeah.
Too good. Awesome. All right, everybody, anybody else last things? Questions? All right, guys, kudos to you. Those implementers, keep it up. Those that haven't done it yet, be encouraged and go dig in. If we can be of any assistance, make sure you post things, challenges and successes on the group page, because I'm telling you, that's a huge place to do. And if you've got a person who's willing to do allow open houses at bank-owned foreclosures in particular, may have more of them, make sure you post those for the group to be able to jump in on that as well. All right, great job, guys. If you have anything else, let me know. Have a great couple weeks if I don't see you before.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks.